Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right. Wow. Let's try
Good morning,
that again.
Froggy.
All right. Here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. We almost didn't make it. My voice was like, what's up with you, Bill?
You've only been talking soft morning voice. You haven't been like, hey. So there's another part of there with clear out the upper area there or something.
Here we are at Flipping Houses for Rookies. I'm Dealmaker Bill.
And I'm Pete the Rookie.
Oh, boy. That's why he's the rookie, because he does shit like that. See, Pete?
No,
that's why you're not getting elevated.
That's the entertainment factor.
Oh, the entertainment factor. Oh, okay. So we are on episode number 60 today, Peter.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And we're going to call it The Lost Chapter. How to begin.
Okay.
And I'm calling it The Lost Chapter because it seems like I think I've covered this like a lot. But on support tickets, it doesn't seem that way. So I thought I would call it The Lost Chapter. People
to know how to get started?
Yeah.
Where to begin?
Yeah. So why don't we start with you kind of telling your story?
Okay.
You know, like how you got started. You know, obviously you know me, so it's a little bit different, but not quite different because we've made that so everybody could do exactly what you did.
Yeah. Well, you have to find a way to start, whatever it is. Over the years, I had looked into real estate, been to seminars and read some books, but I just didn't see how to begin because you always needed some chunks of money, which I really didn't have in those days. Young couple, kids, and all that kind of stuff. So a while back, I went to another one, and
another one what?
Another real estate
seminar.
Did a whole weekend. You know, let's get in there the whole weekend. Drag the wife. We need one more source of income. Come on, we're getting old. We need some money. Get in here.
Right.
So, I just saw some of the newer techniques or the way they're explaining it nowadays. Some the whole real estate market or the investors and professional guys. They're all kind of doing this thing. And if somebody finds something, we get somewhere and we all figure it out somehow. And I found some ways that made sense that I think I could finally do.
Okay.
But I figured it'd be better to call you and work with you than, some group, some far distant place. And I'm really particular how I learn things. I know a lot about education. I like things to be laid out properly, not just thrown on the table.
Right.
Here it is, and you go, wait a minute. Like you sift through it's not laid out in sequence. I've read things like step-by-step approach. You go to the first page. Holy cow, blah, 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 blah. It's all over the place. It's not step-by-step.
Right.
So it doesn't work. So when I called you, it was...
So you called me. You're kind of leaving a lot of the story out for I don't know what reason. I don't know.
Oh. I thought I was getting to the good part.
Oh, go ahead.
When I called you.
Okay, go ahead. All right, maybe I just don't understand. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, all that people go through what I went through. You go to some seminars, you go to a meeting here, you read a book, and you still scratch your head.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So I'd call you, said, yeah, I'll help you. So when the seminar's over, a few days later, I call you, said, what do I do? So, do I need to get the lawyer? What's an escrow account, and who has those? The lawyer, the bank, whatever. And do I need an LLC, and how much do I need to start with? And you go, whoa.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, so can I back up a little bit? Do you mind if I kind of interrupt your story? So
yeah, because you know what you want me to say, so go ahead.
No, I'm just going to... No, I don't... It's not a matter of what I want you to say. It's I have a different recall of what happened. So
yeah, go ahead.
So I remember you calling me up and saying, hey, I'm going to Kiyosaki's event because they're in town.
That's right.
And I probably shouldn't use his name, but...
That's why I didn't, but...
Yeah, okay. So
you said he's
got an event, and I'm going to go there, and I paid, I don't know, $300 or $400 for the weekend.
Right.
And you said to me, what do you think? I said, they're going to upsell you to probably $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 worth of a class, which is fine because you're going to eventually need that education.
Mm-hmm. Right?
I
was thinking $7,000 or $8,000. Like, woo!
Right. And you said, okay, well, I already paid for it. I'm going to go check it out. right? Mm-hmm. And so you went, and then the week after you called me up and you said, yeah, it was like 20 grand or 30 grand or something like that to get started. Well, I said it's 20, or you said it's 20 or 30 grand, and I said to get started, right? And you're like, no, that's the whole thing. And I'm like, I heard it was 50, but I never did it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I did my stuff with Ron LeGrand.
Yeah.
And Richard Roop. So you said to me, the way I remember it is you said to me, okay, so, well, how about if I'm going to spend that money, or instead of spending that money, how about you and I do something? And I said, well, like, what did you have in mind? And you said, well, how about if I like pay you with splitting deals?
Yeah, it says, what I recall is if you help me figure this out, I'll pay you whatever you want. I don't care because zero is zero. I get nothing on this side. I know you're fair, so I said, if I'll help you, you help me, show me what goes on. I'll do what I have to do, and I'll split the money, whatever you need.
Then we had the conversation like, well, why would I do that? Because what do I get out of it? And I wasn't being greedy. It was just I was being greedy with my time more than anything else because I knew what it would take. And you said, well, what do you want? And I don't know. Let me think about it. And then I came back, I think it was like 3 or 4 days later, and said to you, I have an idea, and I know how you can help me because I know you're in the entertainment business, or you were in the entertainment. You're not as much anymore.
I've been around.
And I know that, you have all those like communications, or people that know who to talk to.
Contacts.
So I thought, well, Peter, what I would like to do is I would like to start a radio show on Saturday mornings. So if you could figure that out, then let's start working together. Because my exchange from you would be we get on the radio and we would like start doing that, and then I would help you with buying houses.
And that's how we operate as people.
Yes,
you've been over my place once for free. You sat with me for an hour just to help me with my my music business,
right?
For no reason at all. I said thanks, and you left. That was it. There's no catch.
Right.
And I'll help you when I can. So you help me. I always say, what do you need?
Right.
And if
Turn my closer to your face.
And we both know people who come around, no names mentioned, and they want help. They want help from you, but then they don't seem to have the viewpoint of how can they help you.
Right.
And you know a lot of stuff, so I help you whatever I can figure.
Right.
If I can help you with a lawn, I'll help you with a lawn. If I can help you with landscaping, whatever I know how to do, make phone calls. But that was a radio show, so
then
we got a show.
So you went and did a lot of homework and due diligence and spent weeks on it, weeks and weeks. And we actually started a radio show on WELI, which is 960 AM in Hamden, Connecticut.
Right.
And we signed a contract for 13 weeks.
That's right.
And it cost us money, or it cost me money. And I was willing to do that. It was, several $1,000s, and I was willing to do that until we got about halfway in. And first of all, it seemed like it was kind of a rickety place. We had this producer. I mean, the salesperson was good, the girl.
Promised the world.
Yeah. And then we get in there, and the dude is like, I don't know what he did.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. It was a little bit of a disconnect between sales and what he did. But anyways,
he was working.
Yeah, but he was going to be there whether we were there or not. That's all my point.
He was on the clock.
Yeah. So we did a radio show, and then we started asking questions like how many people are listening? And
they looked at us like, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
And we found out that the way a radio station figures out how many people listen is they actually send surveys out once a quarter to ask people what radio station they listen to.
Yeah, every few months, once in a while.
Yeah.
And it's very generic. It's not like at 10 o'clock they're listening to our show. I mean, how close did they get?
I don't remember. It was just Saturday morning the way I remember it.
It wasn't responsive to know what we're doing. Is anybody really listening? Is anything happening? Hello?
So I fired up a website, and we started telling people to go to the website, so we would actually, because I had analytics on the website, I could tell whether or not people were going to the website. So that was the only measurement we had.
Yep.
And then me being me and numbers and, just analyzing and return and marketing and
ROI.
Yeah, ROI.
Return on investment.
I realized that the amount of money that I was spending to the amount of hits I was getting on the website, which was just hits, it wasn't anything else, because at that time I had not tried to promote anything other than the reason why we did it is because I was looking to get deals. So I was hoping that on the radio people would hear us talk, and they would say, "Oh, I have a house for sale," and they would call me.
Yeah. Would you get what? Couple?
We got and I didn't buy
3?
anything. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So I was looking at it from that point of view, like, I think we spent $4,000 or $5,000, and I was like looking at, I didn't even buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I had better ways to spend $4,000 or $5,000 to get a house.
Right.
But that turned into this.
Yeah.
Because I came home and said to Emma,
we can do this ourselves.
well, Jessie started with me first about podcasts, because Jessie's a podcast queen. Her and Emma.
Yeah.
Emma listens to a lot of podcasts, right, Em?
I used to listen. There are two
Your mic's
podcasts I
not on.
listen to, but Jessie
Your mic's not on, sweetheart.
Yes, it is.
I can't hear it.
Wrong mic.
Oh, there you
We
go.
have too many mics.
Okay.
I listen to 2 podcasts, but I listen to them religiously. Like, they had over 100 episodes, and I listened to all of them. But Jessie commutes about 2 hours per day. And she's either talking to my mother on the phone, or she's listening to a podcast. So
Jessie started with the podcast, and she's like, Dad, I listen to these podcasts. You should listen to one. I forgot what it was. So I listened to one. And then I come back to Emma, and I'm like, Em, what's this podcast stuff? Do you get it? And she goes, yeah, why? And I'm like, well, I got this crazy idea. And she goes, uh-oh. This is back in Emma's earlier days. Now Emma hears crazy idea, and she's like, okay, what do you need me to do? She's kind of gotten used to it. Which, by the way, I told at the last event, Emma has cleared it up fully.
What?
Emma has cleared me up 100%. She's got it down to a T.
On?
She says my attention span is 2 weeks.
Yes.
And if it's not done within 2 weeks, I move on and I do something else.
Yeah, that's why we don't worry about your great ideas. Because if it really is a good idea, it'll stick around. The other ones just kind of wash away, and we stick with the good ones, right, Emma?
yeah,
Now he knows.
yeah.
I knew that already. So the real problem
But
is
we know too now. That's the point.
the real problem is that it's not my ideas. It's your attitude about my ideas that you're just going to wait for it to just go away. That's the real problem with my ideas.
Well, if it's a good one, I'll find out in 2 weeks because you're still talking about it, and then I'll do it.
Right.
Otherwise, do all this work, and then, we don't do that anymore, Pete. How about this one? And, I'm not making you any money or me that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So Emma, being the geek chick that she is, went and did a bunch of research on how much it costs for equipment and how much to do the thing and mics and all that kind of stuff. And I forgot what happened. I had found some money, I had a surprise deal, or it was not like $20,000. It was like, I don't know, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, something like that. Something happened, I know.
Was it an old
It was
commission?
it was an old commission. It was something like that. It was something
An old commission on cars?
Yeah, it was something weird like that.
Yeah.
That just all of a sudden I just had this surprise one month. I had like this extra money. So I said to Emma, I said, I got this money, Em. Go do it. And then she went and did a research, and that's when we started the podcast. Because I found out why spend this. I spent about as much money on the podcast for what's it been, a year, Em?
Over a year.
Yeah, and you bought all the equipment.
And I
with
bought all the
money.
equipment, and that was the only time I ever spent the money. The rest of the time, I mean, we spend money now because we have software and stuff like that, but it's not huge money. It's not nothing like that. So we started the podcast.
Yep.
Right? But the other point I want to bring up is that when you called the girl at the radio station, she said that you had to have personalities.
No,
boy.
I was thinking of that
Oh.
because I was thinking, even though it's just you and me talking, it's some kind of a show. You want to have what kind of role you want me to have? What's going to be your role and my role? Are we Abbott and Costello?
Right.
Are we Click and Clack? What kind of identity would be useful so we can have a rapport? So she said, "What's the name of the show?" Flipping Houses for Rookies. And she goes, "So you're the rookie."
And it stuck.
I can't shake it. I mean, how white does my hair have to get not to be a rookie? Really? Seriously? Come on. So, yeah, fine. And then we had to twist your arm for a few weeks. No, you're Bill the Deal Maker. Deal Maker Bill.
Okay, so that's kind of how it all started. I mean, we took a little time to talk about something other. I mean, that's how we started. Maybe some people would enjoy it. Some people are maybe bored at this point. Like, Bill, how do I begin?
Yeah, well, what's that got to do with me? Well, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all those stupid things. I mean, seriously, how things fall apart.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't usually call people to ask for help.
Right.
I have no problem helping, but I usually don't like bothering people.
Right.
I felt like bothering you that day. So I just felt like the right thing to do because I know you and you know me, and I think it's worked out.
So You called me and said, like what you said, but I have to have an attorney, I have to have a realtor, and you were talking
Should
about...
I be an LLC already?
Yeah.
Do I,
You had all these questions, and I'm
I need
like,
to incorporate.
what are you talking about?
Well, I just went to the seminar, and I have this book. I'm going through paragraph 1 and chapter 2 and and has all these. Oh my God! That's why I didn't start so many times. Like
So basically, what I did is I told you that without telling you that you need to match your message to your market, right? So what I told you to do is I told you where to go get the list, right? So go here and get this list. And
list of houses.
And it was
Name.
a physical list. It wasn't like you went online to get it. It's not something you buy online. The list we use is actually public record, and we make the list.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's very unique. It's not some service that we use, and I actually have students right now that are doing that and not following my system, and they're sending out 200 letters and not getting responses.
Ooh. Yeah, I think I heard that. I was listening to one of the calls. Yeah, I got my wife and my son, who's very technically smart, and they're going through the list and really getting it the way it needs to be.
So I showed you how to make your list, and then I said, here's a letter that I use that's very successful. Okay? And that was it.
Well, not quite, because the wife, who's a fairly smart person with great handwriting, wrote the letter and said, "Ooh, wait a minute." Because I'm like 100%. When I read something, I do it 100% what it says. Every T, every I,
Yep.
I looked at it.
The training you're talking about.
Huh?
The training.
Well, my training just to do it right, So I took the instructions that you gave us. Said, wait a minute, honey. No, it's supposed to say this. No, don't do that. But no, it's supposed to look like that. And no, I know it's supposed to be like that. Okay. So we just a couple of times just to get it really, really right.
Okay. So, but the point is you got the letter.
Yeah.
You did exactly the letter that I showed you.
Yeah, and that's my point. The exact parts, because people don't do it right. They think, well, wouldn't this be better? Stop thinking.
Well, they think that because they don't like it, somebody else won't like it. It's amazing what people's egos do, including mine. You think that because you do it, it's correct, and everybody should do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, people have opinions, but opinions don't make money. Research, surveys, experience.
In marketing, it's all about testing.
Yeah.
It's all about testing, and testing means you send out a piece and you find out what the response is, and then you make one change. That's it. Maybe it's one letter, like an I, a capital I instead of a lowercase I or whatever.
Yeah.
You make one change, you do the mailing again. And then you make another change and you do a letter again. Now there's a word and actually it's a phrase in the marketing business it's a big phrase. It's a couple words, but it's a big phrase. It's called a control piece. So in marketing, what that means is you have it's a direct mail term, but can be used anywhere. I mean, we use it in Facebook now. A control piece means that this exact letter has always the same numbers. So if I mail 500 of them, it has the same amount of percentage of response and the same amount of percentage of sales.
Okay.
If I mail 5,000, it has the same number of percentage of response and the same number percentage of sales.
Right.
If I mail 5 million of them, it's the same number. So a control piece means it always has the same, within a small variant, but it always has the same. So if you want to control your income, okay, what you do is you take this control piece and you mail it based on the numbers, right? Like for example, our letter averages about 20% response, and it usually gets about a half a house.
What?
About a half a house.
You buy half houses?
Yeah. So in other words, when I do my mailings, I usually I'll mail about 400 or 500 pieces before I buy a house.
Right.
So the first mailing I'll do 200, the second mailing I'll do another 200, and I'll end up
somewhere
buying
in there,
a house.
so you get the whole house at the end.
Right. So I'm finding that if you don't do at least 500 letters, then you probably won't get a house. Okay. Now 500 letters equates to about 15 offers. Okay, so when you're new, and I say when you're new because you may not have, well, it depends. If you do some of my scripts, it's about 15 offers you'll make
Before you get a house.
to buy a house.
Right.
Right. Well, let's put it this way: before you get an offer accepted, now buying it is a different story because there's paperwork and lawyers and stuff like that.
Right.
So, but it's about 15 offers if you're somewhat scripted.
Right.
If you're not, it could be anywhere from 15 to 100, depending on what you say and how you say it. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're really bad, or really it depends on how good you are.
Well, it's not even how bad or how good you are. It's how focused you are on a result. Like one thing that I learned. Now I've trained a lot of salespeople. Okay, I trained a lot of salespeople, dozens and dozens of salespeople. Okay, and the one thing that I did figure out is there's a couple things about salespeople. One, a really good salesperson sucks at his paperwork. A guy that's really good at his paperwork sucks as a salesperson. Now that's not an absolute, but it's a majority of the time.
Right.
Okay.
Well, you're lucky to have one or the other, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you find the guy that can do both, he's usually the sales manager. Okay.
Yeah.
So he usually elevates to the sales manager.
Yeah.
So I'd rather get the guy that's a salesman than the paperwork guy, because the salesman is the one that brings the money in. Okay.
Mm-hmm. You can manage you can deal with the paperwork somehow.
Right. Now, I figured I operated off of that piece of information for a long time. It's like, okay, well, I know that. Well, that elevated to another senior datum to me, okay, which is this. There's a salesman and there's a closer.
Wow.
So salesmen talk. They're good at chumming up with someone, and I don't mean like, fakely, like they're good people.
Yep.
They're good at conversation. They have a good communication cycle. They're good at talking to people. People like them. They're good at building rapport and trust and all that kind of stuff. They're really good at that. Okay? What is that noise? Oh, it's your phone. Okay.
My phone's vibrating on the floor.
No problem.
Making
I just
a
want to
little
make
tune
sure
there.
it wasn't Emma doing something.
Making a little tune on the floor.
Okay. So the salespeople, a salesman is really good at like getting in the front door. As I call it, cracking the threshold. In other words, getting into sitting down with someone, making an appointment, sitting in the living room, making them feel comfortable, making them feel trusted, that they can trust you. They're really good at rapport building and very good people.
Okay.
A lot of those people don't ask for the sale. Like, I got to tell you one thing. That it doesn't bother me anymore because it's just so rampant that I've just given up. When I was a kid, my father busted my chops all my life. Okay, he just was a hard dad. Okay, and one of the things that he busted my chops about is there was two problems with me and a television. One was I love black and white movies. I watched Abbott and Costello and Tarzan and all those black and white movies. I mean, I just absolutely would get... If I watched TV, that's what I wanted to watch.
Yep.
Or, if we watched regular TV and I couldn't watch that and people were in the room, I loved to watch the commercials, didn't like to watch the shows.
What?
Swear to God.
I hate the commercials.
And
I'm
I
so
would watch
happy I have on demand. Like, fast forward. Yeah. No, sir.
I'm like that now, but... But I, when I'm by
Really?
myself, like if I'm watching TV, because the only time I watch TV is usually with Emma or when I go to bed at night.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoy the commercials because I learn from it.
Okay.
And one of the things that I recognized is that like Chevy, the vehicle, or Chrysler or Ford, they have these big, expensive commercials. Or how about this one, the Super Bowl?
Oh, boy.
They pay millions of dollars to have this commercial and have no call to action. They don't tell you where to get the product and how to do it.
If they think they're doing PR.
They're doing something. They think that they're branding. They think they think, oh, when you think of Ford, you're going to remember that commercial, right? Which is whatever. I mean, there's some methodology to that, but there's no call to action.
Yeah.
So I used to watch commercials, looking for commercials that had call to action.
Now, when you say call to action, can you give us a little more example of that? Or?
Yeah. So like, here's a beautiful Ford F-150 truck.
Yep.
right? Mm-hmm. And it's $16,000 or $38,000 or whatever the hell they cost now. I don't know. I don't buy a new truck, so. And that's it. They don't say they might say go to your local Ford dealer. That's as soft as they go. They don't say go to 123 Main Street to Crest Ford and you'll talk to Tom and he'll give you the truck. I mean, the more specific you can get, the better off you are. And the easier it is, because you don't want your gateway to your income, because really this is the gateway to your checkbook. You don't want it to have obstacles. I mean, picture a door-to-door salesman walking up to a house with a white picket fence, and he can't get the fence open, and he trips over this and he trips over that and he trips over this, and the customer in the house might want that because they don't want the door-to-door salesman, right? But suppose this is a gross way to say it, but suppose grandma just passed away, and you need to speak to the funeral director, and he's trying to get to the door, and he has to go through that obstacle. I mean, it's something you really need and want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you've made all the obstacles so he can't get there. Right? So it's a bad example, but I think you get the picture,
no, sure.
Right?
Sometimes you want. So a lot of people like, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you. Sometimes you need a guy.
Right.
You need a plumber now, so you got to get him in the door.
So this is the reason why I talk about, so I got that's 100% correct. You need him there. So,
yeah.
So the thing that I talk about all the time, which is very, very profound, but it doesn't sound that way when I say it, if you match your message with your market. So in other words, look for a person that needs to sell a house, and you say, we buy houses. They'll open up that front walkway so that you can run up the sidewalk because they're just dying for an offer.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people like that. And there are a lot of people. I mean, I've done thousands and thousands of offers in people's houses. And by far, I would guess that the percentage is way above 70%, that people do not want to use a realtor.
Oh, yeah.
It's way above 70%. They have some story. The realtor didn't do their job. They overpriced it. They blew up a deal. There's just, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of stories I heard about how they don't want to use a realtor.
Yep.
But when somebody says they want to sell a house, what do? They say, well, I got to hire a realtor. And the realtor is hired just for marketing. They're not hired to keep the deal. I mean, they do some negotiating, but they're not hired as like most people think. Most people think a realtor is a consultant. So we hire a realtor and they'll take us through the sale. No, especially in Connecticut, it's a judicial state. Other parts of the country, they're title companies, right? So what happens is at least in Connecticut, the realtor writes the purchase and sales contract, ships it to the lawyer or the title company, and they're pretty much done. Now all they do is just handle communication between you, the buyer, or you, the seller, and whatever else is going on. That's really all they're doing is keeping the sale together. But they're not guiding you. They're not telling. It's kind of like you go to school, right? And what do they tell you as soon as you get in school? Go home and study. Do they? I mean, that starts what, in first grade, second grade, third grade? Take this. What the teacher will go over it, give you a textbook, and say, okay, go home and study this. Yeah. Right? Did they ever teach you to study? Here's another one. My kids were out of high school and in college, and I had to sit down with both of them to show them how to use a checkbook. So they're in college. I mean, tons of education. 13, 12, 13, 14 years worth of education. Right. And nobody showed them how to use a checkbook.
Well, that'd be useful.
And cooking. Emma's in the back. Emma says cooking.
And cooking.
Well, when we went to high school, Emma, we actually had a home ec class that would teach that, and we used to tease boys for being in there. But now I look back, it was a good thing.
You were required in middle school. You did 1/2 a year of each of the electives. So there was woodworking, there was art, there was sewing, and there was cooking. So you did 1/2 a year of cooking in middle school, and that was all that was required. They did have home ec classes in high school. Nobody took them.
Right.
Nobody took them. So I got into college, and I got into out of college now, and I didn't know how to cook.
Yep. Well, we won't bring that up because I think Mom should have taught you that, but Mom didn't know how to cook either.
Mom had like 4 good meals.
Yeah, 4 good meals. My ex-wife's idea, and I'm not knocking her. She's a great woman.
She's
but
a
her
great
idea,
cook now that she's only cooking for herself.
Robin was always just. I had a wad of money in her back pocket, and she was like, "Let's get some pizza, let's get some Chinese food," and just hit it on the way home. Anyways,
But those are the two biggest gripes I have with high school is they should require you to take a cooking class and they should require you to take basic finance.
right. So I mean, we're not. I mean, it sounds like we're real diverted here, but we're not, because the point is that's exactly what happens with a realtor. They tell them to go sell a house, but they don't show them the steps. I've been to the realtor school. I know. I went through the whole thing and went to take my test, and I'm like, I'm not doing this. It's a barrier for me. I don't want to go tell everyone. I don't want to stop my deals. I want it to flow easily. So I hire them. When I need them, I hire them. Right? I mean, and which, by the way, I don't need them. If we do the deals I'm talking about, I mean, the only reason why I'm using them now is because, excuse me, I'm doing like I'm doing flipping renovation houses. If you're doing those houses and you're selling within 12 months, you need a realtor. If you're selling 12 months or older, you don't need a realtor. I never use them. You just do it. You just do it the way we do it, which is get options, and you become part equity owner of the house for $100. And then you control the property, and that's the way you do it. And it's more legal than what they do, than what a realtor does, because realtors didn't come on board till the 50s.
It's been around longer.
Right.
It's more traditional.
So now that I got done bashing realtors, and they all shut the podcast off because they're like, this guy sucks. And it's not what I mean, because there are some really good ones out there. And when you get a good one, which, by the way, is kind of a needle in a haystack, if you're going to hire a realtor, I'm going to tell you the first thing to ask them is how many houses have they closed, not sold, how many have they closed in the last 12 months? Okay? So now let's rewind. Let's get back on to purpose here, because what we were talking about was when you're sitting in the house, there's good salespeople and there's good closers. Right?
I think I know what you mean, because it's not hard to talk to people, but to really hone in on closing it and wrapping it up, that's a skill.
Okay, so here, listen to what you just said, because this is only part of it. It's only part of it, because you're missing a huge factor. So so say what you said again.
Well, for some of us, including me, it's easy to talk to people, but honing in on the closing and how you do that and how you just bring it all to a point and just finish it,
right?
That's another story.
Okay, so that is correct, and that's what most people think. First of all, most people have a misnomer thinking that sales is tricking somebody to do something they don't want to do. So first of all, that's not sales. That's an inexperienced salesperson.
That'd be a really bad salesperson.
So you're going to find that in like the computer store, and he sells you a computer that you don't know anything about, and he sells you a bill of goods that you didn't get. That's the used car lot guy that you're talking about. You know, you go into a used car lot, and they're fast talking, sweet talking. They pretend like you're your friend, and believe me, I had one of those. I know how those guys operate.
Yep.
We didn't do that, by the way. And I excel. You know how I made all my money in the car business? People knew I was honest, and we told them the truth. And I did double what everybody else did in a car lot like I had. The size of car lot I had, I used to have 40 cars. We used to sell 38 cars a month. I turned my entire inventory once a month. And in the car business, they teach you to turn your inventory once in every 3 months, and you're a good lot.
Wow.
I did it once a month. And all it was just being honest. And if we made a mistake, we fixed it.
Who knew?
Something simple.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing in the houses. I mean, you go look at my reviews. Go to sellahouseandct.com. Sellahouseandct.com. My site's, it's not pretty, and I build websites. It's not pretty. It doesn't have to be. I got unbelievable reviews in there.
Yep.
Right? I've been doing it 12 years. Right? The point is not to brag about me. The point is that's how you do it. But I want to get back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
Because
so
it's not just a close. It's not just a close. It's a good closer knows how to stay focused on the close. So the things that you talk about are helping the close. So right from hello, he's thinking, I need to get a close.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. This is not a bad thing. This is not a derogatory thing. But he has an agenda, or she has an agenda. So a good salesperson will let the conversation get diverted and start talking about things that are just, it's good rapport building, but it's not getting. So what happens is you talk about all this stuff and you become their friend, and then when it comes time to close, there's a gap, and you have to put a bridge across that gap, and you don't know how to do that. But if you do what I'm talking about, a good closer will make sure that you talk about things from the beginning. And somebody came up with, I don't know who this came up with, ABCs of selling. Always be selling.
Yeah.
Always be closing. That's what ABC. Always be
heard
closing,
that.
right?
Yep.
I'm not talking about that. Because always be closing is, that's trickery. That's like get them to say yes 4 times in a row and they'll say yes. Or get them to do this and they'll do that. It's like they're trying to build habits. I'm not talking about that. I got to tell you that I have sold some pretty cool things in my life. And I have a lot of cool ideas and been trained on a lot of different things. When you're buying houses, it's a big, big, big decision for someone to sell and for someone to buy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's just getting people to understand the sequence and giving them a heads up prior to it happening and just consulting them is all you need to do. Just knowing there's 10 steps, arbitrary number, just 10 steps, and we're at step number 2, and on Tuesday, step number 3 is going to happen, and on Wednesday, step number 4 is going to happen, and on the next week, step number 5 is going to happen, and never give them more than 3 steps in advance, and just walk them through the sale of the house, and you're their best friend forever. Because one of the things I teach in my coaching is how do you build rapport? I've never read this anywhere. This is something that just completely came out of my own feeble little crazy mind. The one that doesn't last for more than 2 weeks, remember?
Unless it's a good idea, so this would be a good idea.
Okay,
we still got it.
I'm just trying to make a joke. So the point is this. When you meet someone, you don't know them. So the only thing that we have as human beings is communication. So if I communicate to you and build some sort of affinity with you, right, and some sort of agreements with you, like that whiteboard is white, or
I like the Yankees too.
Yeah. Instead of I'm an astronaut. You know what I mean?
That's nice.
Yeah, and I've been to Pluto. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you know what I mean? So as long as there's some affinity, like we like one another and that we agree on certain things, we'll keep communicating.
Yeah.
Right? The thing that happens is that communication's just one thing. So I'm going to take you for your word. But how do I know whether your word is good or not? And the way you know whether somebody's word is good or not is you watch their actions. I'll meet you Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock at Starbucks. When do you show up? Do you show up?
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I have noticed is if you do that between 3 and 5 times, then you become trustworthy. So you could build rapport and trust quickly just by doing this. By just giving, saying to the seller, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and then do it. Right? So during the course of the thing, so I'm going to come out and look at your house Tuesday at 10 and be there at 10. I'm going to give you a number on your house and how much I think it's worth and give them the number. And I'm also going to come up with an action plan whether I buy the house or not. We're going to leave and you're going to have an action plan so you know exactly what to do. And then you go there and do that. And they think, oh, this guy's pretty cool. Okay, so I need to go talk to the asbestos guy, or I need to go talk to the siding guy, or I need to go, talk to the mayor. I'll call you on Tuesday and let you know what the results are. And you go do that, and you let them know what the results are. Now, the interesting thing is that when you do it the other way around, it helps you. Because I'm telling you how they can build rapport with you, but you got to build rapport with them. Especially if we're doing a subject to deal and the mortgages is staying in their name, or a lease option and we're marrying them for 5 years or 10 years, we need to make sure that they're trustworthy as well.
That's right.
So you want to make sure that person, you give them things to do, and when you call them on Tuesday or Friday or whatever day, they actually did it.
Yeah.
right? Which brings me to the last point I want to make, and then we're way profound right now, okay? This is stuff I talk to my coaching clients about, okay?
No, I did it yesterday. We were together yesterday morning, and I picked up the phone. I had to leave for a few minutes. It was a buyer.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that with a house right now.
Right.
I did the two things I was supposed to do, and she's halfway through the thing that she needed to do, and she's keeping going. But that's amazing because there's people that you ask them to do something, they don't do it. They don't do it. How do you feel about them after a while?
Right.
You can't count on them.
Right. So I teach my kids. Now, my kids, I have 2 girls. I have a boy too, but mostly with the girls. And Emma will tell you this. One of the things that I taught them when they started meeting boys and that whole hormone thing started coming in was the golden rule is, look, don't listen. I told both my girls, every boy is going to try to get in your pants. It's just how it works. It's just Mother Nature. Okay? So you have to listen. So if the guy tells you, okay, I'm going to be there Thursday at 2, and I'm going to take you out for dinner, then look, don't listen. Does he show up? Is he? And that's how they built their relationships. Mm-hmm. Was on look, don't listen. Right, Emma? Didn't we have that conversation?
Sure. Yes.
So that was my advice to my kids is that you're young and they're both beautiful, you know. And I'm not saying that because they're my children. People tell me that all the time, so it's not just my opinion, okay? But my point is that, look, don't listen. That's the point. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Absolutely.
So here's the thing. Now, knowing all of that is in the background, and why am I bringing this up on the show called Lost Chapter, How to Begin, is because if you understand this stuff, you will evolve into it. This is the stuff you need. It's not some trick. It's not some hidden data. It's not something special. It's not there's some esoteric type of activity that you need to do to be an investor. No, it's a people business. You got to know how to communicate. Some of the things we're talking about, you got to know how to do these things. Unless you're going to buy on the MLS. If you're going to buy on the MLS, you don't need any of this stuff. And you're going to compete against everybody else. You're going to be frustrated all the time. And you're going to be dealing with a ghost seller. Mm-hmm. It's always somebody you don't know. It's somebody you never met.
And you can't talk to them.
Yeah. And oh yeah, by the way, the realtor is taught in realtor school to hide their motivation.
Yeah, you can't ask the seller why are they selling.
Right. You do not reveal your buyer or your seller's motivation.
Because
the other person could take advantage of them. They think.
Oh, really? Well, then we can offer them less, make them pay more.
Right. Okay. My whole business is around what is the person's motive, what is the buyer's motivation, what's the seller's motivation.
Right.
2 different businesses.
Right.
But they intertwine.
But the reason you do it is so you can figure out the best way to help them.
Right.
With setting up the arrangement of how you should sell, how fast, and what method,
right.
What kind of offer to help them best.
Our deals, even though a lot of people listening think that an owner financing deal is a benefit to us more than it is to the person. We just had this happen in a house. The guy, I was with another student, and the guy is telling me about owner financing and what he should get, because he said to me he wanted something like. It's a $200,000 house. Mm-hmm. He wanted $50,000 down, which is 25%. So I asked him, why would I do that? He goes, what do you mean? I said, if I wanted to pay cash for your house, first of all, I can go get a private lender and be 0% down. Or I could just go to the bank and get an FHA mortgage or something like that for 5%. You think that I don't qualify for the bank? Okay? And here's the magic. Now, if you want to hear about FHA mortgages, go to show 59. We did a phenomenal job. That was last week. Mm. Show 59 is jet fuel for real estate cash. That was we had Jesse here. That was a really good show.
I want the transcript on that one.
Yeah. Emma's getting them done with our assistant now. So jet fuel for a real estate cash. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was a phenomenal show. Okay, on how you can go to FHA and have a bad credit score and still get a loan. Mm-hmm. So I said to the guy, why would I give you 25% down? Well, I got to be protected. Okay. That was his reason. So he's the wrong seller. He's not motivated. Right?
Yeah.
He's more worried about the risk than the reward. The reward is getting rid of the house. Right?
Yeah.
So when the risk, when you solving their problem is more rewarding to them than any risk, then you have a real, true motivated seller and you do a deal.
Right.
Okay. So now let's take that and back up. Let's end off with this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now that you understand all that, right, like the whole way through, okay, so there is no magic pill here. It's really just about really getting trained on good communication. And even if you think you're a good communicator, even if you think you're a good closer, okay, there are certain tools that we have developed. And when I say we, I mean me. And the only reason why I developed them is because I did thousands and thousands of offers. I mean, what gives me the right to tell you how to do marketing? Well, I spent between $7,000 and $9,000 a month for many years. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely. Have things changed? Absolutely. But there are basic things. The thing that I gave to you when you first started was the absolute best campaign I ever ran.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, it still is. I have coaching clients using it. I still use it myself. It's one of the only things I use. Okay?
Yeah.
Because it works.
Yeah.
So I'm not telling you because I invented it. And in fact, I didn't even invent it. I took it from somebody else.
Yeah.
All I did was get meticulous with it. So the things that I added to it were very meticulous, like certain fonts and certain, I just tested because we send, when you're sending out 1,800 letters a week and you're constantly looking at the results, you're going to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you want to go reinvent the wheel? I already have it figured out, right? And I got the exact message to market match. I've already figured all that stuff out. Right, so I just showed it to you, and a week later you call me and says I got a house. I said, you actually did it? I've told that to a lot of people, and they don't do it. And you actually did it. You duplicated what I said to you. You completely got it, and you did it. Mm-hmm. And you had a week later. Now, we didn't buy it, but we were in houses.
Oh, that didn't matter. People called me. I was flabbergasted, and actually got an appointment to look at a house. Yay, I'm doing something.
Right.
20 years I hadn't done anything. I'm in a house. Yay, it's a start.
Right.
It's you said something like there might be 10 steps in the process. You're not going to get, 10 steps got my first house. You might get one step done and screw up. You might get 3 or 4 steps and it falls apart. Okay, see if I can get to the 5th or 6th step. That's why I teach songs. See if you can get to the first line. Try 2 lines. Try the verse. Just piece by piece.
Right.
And then it one day, out of the blue, like boom, it happens. The next offer you make, they said yes,
and
you get one.
So
and you get another one.
I want to put it in something I thought of the other day, and I meant to ask you this earlier today.
Yeah.
So it's kind of on the same purpose, but it's not. I'm going to divert for 1 second.
Yes, Bill.
So I have a tagline for flipping houses for rookies for our training.
Okay.
And it's like this: where results mean more than words. Where results mean more than words. Because so many people, actually, and then I thought where results mean more than information. Because people think that they need to feed their mind with all this information to do things, and no doubt you need to do that. But it's much better when you're trying to apply it. You're going to learn more with application than you are going to learn with studying. Now, studying is important. You need to know what the steps are. But it's good if you could keep the theory short and the application long.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I notice when I'm coaching people is the application sticks, or the theory sticks when somebody's actually doing it.
Oh yeah.
Now when I tell them the things like we're talking about today, like a closer and a salesperson, when you're actually in houses making offers, you're going to be thinking about that.
Oh yeah.
Am I being a salesman or am I being a closer? Because that will mean something. But if you're not making offers, you don't sit in a house, you may not realize that's an important piece of information.
No, it's not real unless you've been actually sat through it. And I've sat through enough houses with you that I see you talking, and I'm not always sure where you're going with it, but you knew where you were going with it, or
I closed the loop.
Got you.
I always close the loop.
It goes down and then it closes up.
Because everybody's different. Everybody's personality is different. Everybody's reality is different. So sometimes you have to approach an offer a little bit different than you can't. It's not some canned thing. You just need to know what the end result is of you doing this. and you doing this, and you doing this. Now, we figured it out. We actually have scripts and all that kind of stuff that we use, okay? And we figured all that out. And the only way you're going to get that stuff is to be in my private group coaching group. And I'm never going to change that, or I don't think I'm going to change that. Mm-hmm. And the reason why we do that is because I want to make sure you do it correctly. I don't want you to go out there, read my stuff, have a misunderstood word, or not understand something, or understand the theory behind it, and then go apply it, and it doesn't work, and then you say my shit doesn't work. It does work. I've done it thousands and thousands of times. I don't care what you say. It works.
Yeah, but you have to do it right.
You have to do it correctly.
Just like the first letter, as smart as my wife is, as much as we study, and took the two of us, wait a minute. No, read it again. No, you got to do it this way. No, you're not supposed to. I don't care what it looks like. It works. Just do it like that.
Right.
Why? Because it says so. I don't know the difference. You don't know the difference, so why second? So we had to get even the very first step right.
Right.
You get the first step wrong, and now where are you?
Right. Exactly. So just to get this out of the air. So if anybody listening to this show wants that exact letter that you're talking about, and anybody wants the exact way that we put the list together and a whole bunch of other stuff,
make a check for $1 million to Pete the Rookie. Send it to my personal P.O. box. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Pete,
he was
we're still broadcasting.
Oh, I thought the show was over. Sorry.
Anyways, so what you do is you can go to Flipping Houses for Rookies. No, it's not for rookies. Flippinghouses.club. Forget what I just said. Flippinghouses.club/coaching 101. We formed, Emma and I, meaning we, formed a Facebook group. It's a private group. I reeled everything in. Matter of fact, by this time next week, you're going to go to our Flippinghouses.club website, and it's not going to have much stuff on there. We're taking a lot of stuff down because it's too confusing. And I'm going to make some changes, and I'm reeling it all back in because it's too much. I was just, there's a plethora of information there, and people get lost.
Okay.
So I've got too many complaints about it. I'm taking it all down. Okay. Not that you can't have it. I'm going to give you what you need. We're going back to basics. We're going back to exactly what I did with you. I showed you how to get calls. Because once you buy a house, now what happened when we bought a house? When you bought a house at the closing or before the closing, we got you your LLC, we got the attorney, we had all the things that we needed when we needed it.
Right.
You didn't skip any of those steps. You just put them in the right sequence.
And that's the point that people don't get.
Right.
I remember signing up for one of the websites, $60 a month, something or other, and go to the videos. And there's a long stream of videos. I didn't know which one to look at first.
Right. 200 and something videos.
Yeah, aren't you supposed to do that for me? Am I supposed to do it for you? Yikes, it was crazy.
So go to flippinghouses.club/coaching 101. Okay? Here's how it works. It's $1 offer. For 30 days, you can go in there for $1, and then it's $67 a month. And I just take you through, and there's a video there that explains this. I just uploaded it last week. There's a video that explains how this works. So just go to flippinghouses.club/coaching 101, and you can start. Within 30 days, depending on, you did it in a couple weeks, right? You will have people calling you saying, I have a house for sale. What can you do for me? And you will be in the real estate business. You don't need anything other than what I put in that damn Facebook group. And I'm proud of that because we worked over a year to make it really simple. And it is goddamn simple. I mean, you've seen it.
But you just do it.
It's the exact thing, just like what I'm talking about when you're in the house and you're having a conversation and you got to get to a result. What I did, it's the same exact thing. I'm going to close you, and I don't mean it that way, but I'm going to close you on, you will be getting leads. You will be you'll be making offers. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, if there's anything I can ever teach you, and if there's anything you can ever remember from me, here's what I want on my headstone on my grave. An offer a day keeps the dead away.
Okay.
You cannot buy houses without making offers. The whole problem that anybody has with beginning in this business is they are not making offers. That's it. There is no other, or nothing. They are not making offers. End of story. I don't care what anybody says. You are not making offers. If you are not making offers, you have a hobby. You are not in this business. End of story. Do not go further than that. That's all it is. So how do you get from where you are to making an offer as quick as possible?
Right.
And that's what we did in this Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
And just as a note, if you do end up deciding to join us at Flipping Hutch's Coaching 101, if you ever want to get to that content again, just go to that same URL. Go to flippinghouses.club/coaching101.
Yeah, save that as a favorite.
Yeah.
As your bookmark.
So that's where you go to get your content. You're not going to, if you go to flippinghouses.club, there is a login in the top right where it leads you right back to that URL. But if you're trying to access that content, go to flippinghouses.club/coaching101.
Right. So there are hours and hours worth of videos in there. I actually share the actual letter that I still mail to this day. Okay, it's the actual letter. I actually show you how to automate it. I show you the theory behind it. I show you why it looks so simple, but why it works. I actually give the scripts of how we answer the telephone and why we say what we say. I give you these questions that I'm talking about. These questions are advanced questions that took me thousands and thousands and thousands of phone calls and offers to make. And we tested them, because you use them. Okay? So it's all there. So the reason why I called today the lost chapter, how to begin, is because we were off on some rants for a year and we lost this chapter. We literally lost this chapter.
Well,
because
when you get down the road, you forget the beginning of the road.
So because so many people are asking so many questions, and we were trying to provide all this, and the truth of the matter is, I had to go back to basics. What did I do with you? Because then Jessie came along, and the same exact thing happened with Jessie. What did I do with her? It's like, go here, get this list, mail this exact letter, and when people call, ask these questions. And you're in the business. I mean, literally, you could be like, it'll take you, most people, it's a couple weeks. Minimum a couple weeks. If you move fast, you can do it in a couple weeks. Yeah. Definitely within 30 days.
Well, as soon as the mail goes out, the calls come in.
Right.
2 days later, people start calling.
They start calling.
So
they're not all people. They're not all prospects. No. They're not all, you're not going to buy the first house.
But just about every one of the people that call are nowhere else to be found. They're not. They don't have a house for sale on the MLS. They're not on Zillow. They're not any place else. You're the only one talking to them,
right?
Because you send the letter to somebody, and
I was thinking about this. How did you know?
Yeah. They'll say, we're going to put our house on the market like in a month or a few weeks. How'd you know? It says, yeah, I have my ways, but just. And you can tell them what you did. I got this list. You can tell them it's the truth. I'm just looking. I like the area,
because the system, exactly, Peter. The system matched the message to the market. It does the work for you.
Yep.
You just follow these sequences. There's 8 modules in there. They're not hard. There's a lot of time. You could watch. There's hours worth of videos in there. The one course I was selling for $297 all year, and Emma and I really worked. Should we put that in there? And I'm like, yeah, because I want people to have results. I want people to have. Now, is $67 a month going to get you all the information you need? Absolutely not. But it will get you started, it gets you into the business, and get you to understand what you have to do. And then from there, you can either figure it out yourself, or we can help you with that later. Okay? Which is going to be a little bit of a problem for me because my coaching group is almost full. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but I'll deal with that. The bigger point that I'm trying to make here is, this Facebook group and this training is exactly what I did with you and what I've done with so many others. It's like, do these steps and you are in the real estate business. Done. You don't need to go spend a bunch of time studying. Do it as you go. Learn it as you go. And that's the way this, it would be fantastic if you went out and did a slot deal and made $5,000. Now you got $5,000 for your education. If you need it. Okay, and I don't charge that much money, but I could, but I don't. So you don't need that much money. The point is go find a deal and get something put together before you start spending some money. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way I wish I could have done it. I had to put it all on my credit card and go and honk and pay it off when I get my deals. And let me tell you something. There is nothing, and this is my main passion. This is exactly why I do what I do, and I never, ever, ever talk about this. And the other day I started thinking about it. I'm like, I should tell people this. You don't want to know what the worst thing, the suckiest thing in the world is? To do a deal and make 30 grand or 25 grand.
Yeah.
And take all that hard work and all that energy and pay off the freaking credit card. That sucks. You can't even keep the money. You got to give it back. So it's like you do your first deal.
On the education?
Yeah. So if you buy something for 20 grand or 30 grand and put it on your credit card, you're like, I'm tired of that $600 a month payment. I got to pay it off. Even if you don't take all the money, you're still going to take 5, 10, 20, something, and you're going to pay the credit card off. So the first 3 deals or 5, you're taking money that you already spent and paying it back. You don't even get to use it. That sucks. I know. I did it. I still do it. Mm-hmm. Okay? I'm doing that now. The last 2 deals I did, go to the tax man. I don't even get to keep. I have 2 houses that I just sold. It took me 8 months, 7 or 8 months because they were hard houses. Both houses I sold, I don't even get to keep the money. The money's got to go to the tax man. All that work and the money goes to the tax man. I get it. I still have that happen. And I'm believe me, I've had 3 appointments with my accountant, who is now doing all my books, and I've changed all my accounting because I'm not having that happen no more. I'm going to do it as I go.
Oh yeah,
and I can do that.
Yeah,
I just don't have it set up that way. That really sucks to take that first deal and have to pay the credit card off. It really sucks.
I did it the whole 300. I really put that on my Amex. I swear to God, because when I did that, it was like summertime and music lessons in the summer, a little tight. So, honey, we'll just throw it on the Amex. Yeah. And we've made more and more money since, though. The money just keeps coming more and more as we go. So when we actually did the first deal, when we had money, I put it in my account, and I got my next deal. I paid the lawyer. I wrote the check. It wasn't a credit. It was like actually my own money. Like, here's your couple of grand for the closing. There you go. Bought a piece of property. Right. It's much better to have kind of pay as you go or earn as you go.
Right.
Learn as you go, pay as you go, earn as you go.
And that's what our system is all about.
This is like something for the working man.
Yeah, it's the working man, yeah. That's what I talk about. And we're not even here. I'm not even here to like pitch you on this stuff. I mean, you can keep listening to this podcast, and I'm totally cool with that. It's not even. But I have so many support tickets and so many people asking me that I have to talk about it. I got to stop hiding it.
Yeah.
So Emma and I spent an absorbent amount of time. I can't even tell you how many hours Emma has in editing videos. Okay, it's like she's got her first quarter of her life has been editing videos for me. I'm being facetious, but. The point is that I needed to replicate exactly what I did with you, and we've done that. It's in there. So now it's not me. I mean, with you, I did it, on the phone, and I spent a lot of time with Jesse and a few others. I've done it that way. Now it's all there. It's all live. It's not. What is that word? Pedantic. Pedantic. What is it? Pedantic, meaning that it's very. This is how we teach.
It's not overly educated.
Yeah.
On and on and on and on.
Right.
No, it has to be balanced. You just learn enough to do the next step, and then you learn enough to do the next step. Next time around, you know better.
And my buddy Kurt, who is not with us anymore, he was all upset about how we have to have these professional videos. All this stuff had to look good. He was all about branding, and I'm like, dude. I'm a house flipper. I'm not a Hollywood guy. So my videos are not like some high resolution.
What is this, DIY?
Yeah, I'm not on national TV selling advertising, you know what I mean? Like the
trucks.
But yeah, exactly, Ford trucks. But the point is that the information, you get the information. And it's from it's from me. It's sincere and it's passionate and it's very, very what I would do with you.
But I think we should make the videos black and white.
Oh boy, she could do that.
Just one. Can you make one really grainy with black and white?
So if we're going to do that, we got to dress up with. We got to dress up like black and white. That would be fun. We should do that. Like dress up like in the 30s.
Okay.
You remember you used to go to the fairs and they would have that booth where you would go into the booth and you could put whatever costume on and they would take photographs.
Yep.
We need to go find that.
Well, let's see if Thierberg's costume shop is still in Hartford. I don't think so. But there's a costume shop
We could find a costume shop. We should go, and we need to do that. Find a costume shop. But don't worry about it, Em. You just listen to me right now, and in 2 weeks it'll be gone. So,
unless it's a good idea, it will be back.
I'm being completely a snot right now. All right, so we're way over time. Does that make sense? Did I cover the lost article, how to begin?
Yes.
It's not that hard. I mean, and I came at it from a whole different angle today, so hopefully it's a little bit more meaningful. Okay, instead of just telling you, well, mail your letters.
Yeah.
What I'm telling you is if you really want to do this business, go to flippinghouses.club/coaching101 I want to make this statement at the very end. For $1, $1 frickin' dollar.
$1.
Only thing is if you pay the $1, I know that there's a bunch of trolls on the internet that will go in there and rob my shit, and I just refuse to have that happen because it was way too hard to make it this simple. Okay, you would think making it simple is simple. That's the hardest thing in the world to do. For the $1, you're going to get dripped content. So the first week you're going to get some videos. The second week you're going to get some videos. The third week, and then by the time you get to the fourth week, you pay the $67. You get the whole shebang. You're not getting the letter up front. You got to pay $67 a month to get the letter. I'm telling you that right now. Okay, and that's only fair. If you get in there and you like what you see and you want the $67 like 10 minutes after you sign up, just send us a support ticket. It shows you what to do there, and we'll send you a link for the $67, and we'll turn it on. Okay, so you can get everything right away. But most people want to drip it, and they want to get used to it and all that kind of stuff.
They want to build rapport and trust.
Right, exactly right.
That's true.
If you want to learn like Peter did and how I personally taught Peter how to do it, then just go to flippinghouses.club/coaching101.
And can I say my life? I haven't bought 12 houses, but I've got just enough going on that the money's flowing, and there's actually thousands of dollars in the checking account instead of credit card stuff.
Right. Has it changed your life?
Yeah. I actually took a big loan out the other day, a few weeks ago, knowing that I'll sell a couple houses.
Right.
Can never do that before. It'd be like, well, inch by inch, I'd pay it off out of my pay.
Right.
Ouch, that hurts. But to know,
my evaluation when I buy something, that's my evaluation. How many houses do I need to pay it off?
Yep.
And how long will it take me?
Yep.
That's my evaluation. Should I buy this new car? Well, I don't know.
Sell a house and buy a car.
I'll buy 2 houses and I'll sell it off. Huh. I could do it in one house, but it's like I'll just take 10,000 from this one, 10,000 from that one, and that's how I do it.
Yeah, it just changes the dynamics of your life.
Right. Okay, Peter. I think we're over and out. Emma's not even paying attention to us over there. I figured by now she'd be throwing shit at us because we're way over. All right? She's like, whatever, Dad. I'm used to it.
Yeah, she's used to it.
Yeah.
Cue music.
Cue the music. So over and out. Next week we got another really good show planned for you, I think. Unless we change my mind.
We're going to do a bad show this week.
Yeah. And if you could take a couple minutes and go to flippinghouses.club/podcast, all of our podcasts are there. So it's flippinghouses.club/podcast. All the archived ones, all the other 59 episodes are there. And in the top right-hand corner, you'll see an iTunes link. If you can go give us a review, it would be really good because that's how we stay ranked. We have a lot of reviews. So if you can go there, good or bad, just go give a review. So that's flippinghouses.club/podcast. All the podcasts are there. You can get all the archived ones. You can download them. You can listen to them right on the site, whatever you need to do. And in the top right-hand corner, there's an iTunes link. Just go give us a review so we know whether you like us or not. And believe it or not, I read those reviews, and if somebody's complaining about something, we change it. So also, if you go to flippinghouses.club, flippinghouses.club, on the top right-hand side, there's a contact form there. You can get a hold of me. I answer support tickets all week long. If you're in the middle of doing a deal or something like that, you can go there during the week. You can also go into this Facebook group where we're broadcasting this, which is Flipping Houses for Rookies on Facebook, and we post people post questions in here, and often we will. I don't pay as much attention as I do to this group as I do the Coaching 101 group. Which, by the way, in the Coaching 101 group for $67 a month, we get off this podcast. We're gonna get a bottle of water, take a leak. I am. And we're going to go into flipping. We're going to go into the Coaching 101 group, and we're going to spend a half an hour, and if we have to, longer, to answer any questions. So for $67 a month, not only are you getting all these videos, but you're getting us to go over there to do coaching with you for a half an hour, 45 minutes if you have any questions. You post them in there. Emma's behind the board. She reads the questions to us, and we answer them. So there's no reason not to begin. That's the point. That's why I'm hammering all this stuff, because we have tons of support. And in the Coaching 101, you're in there, I'm in there, Jesse's in there. Sometimes Lisa, the girl that has been on our show before, is in there. There's at least 3 or 4 of us. You guys work with me every single day. And the most important factor, the most important person that's in there is Emma, because Emma will read this group and say, she'll text me, Dad, you got a question in Facebook, you need to go answer it if I miss it. So there's plenty of support in there. For $67 a month, it should be $97 a month. We went back and forth on that for a long time, but it is $67 a month. You get a lot of support. Okay? So there's no reason for you not to begin. None. Absolutely none.
And you don't have to know the entire business to start. If you do, you'll just kill yourself right in the head, because you can't do that. You can't get to the end of the process until you start the beginning. So just start. Yeah.
Just go into the Facebook group. It's all laid out for you. It's nice and simple. It's easy. I think I've said that enough today that you get the point.
Okay.
And really, it's not about, I'm not getting rich off of $67. I'm making my money flipping houses. But it is a perfect place for you to give a little bit of exchange and get started. Okay? So if when you called me after the Kiyosaki event you went to and I told you it was $67 a month, would you have done it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually $17,000 just that day.
Yeah.
And they're not, no offense, but they're not in Connecticut. They're not in my hometown.
Right.
So how much help was I expecting to get? I didn't expect much. So
half an hour a week of coaching.
Yeah.
On the phone. Okay, so that's it. We're over and out. We are going to go over to the post show at the Coaching 101 website. If you go into Facebook and type in Coaching 101, you're going to find it's a closed group and you have to be invited. And the only way to get invited is to go through the Flipping Houses for Rookies page and watch the video and click on the link and get the $1 free offer. Okay? All right, Peter, let's go do it. Let's keep working. No,
I brought pieces
more
of paper today to look at, Bill.
Oh, okay, good.
We got deals.
Okay,
or
good.
some things.
So we're going to do some deal structuring. All right, we're over and out. See you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.